Sometimes we just want to boot up a game that lets us destroy entire buildings with a single punch, leap over miles of cars, or take out hundreds of enemies using cool fighting techniques or overwhelming strength. How's it going, guys? I'm Liam, this is Instant Gaming, and today we're looking at 11 epic power fantasy games where you are completely unstoppable. Few games understand raw power quite like Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. This is Jedi fantasy turned up to absurd, glorious levels where the Force isn't just a tool, but a weapon of mass spectacle. You don't gently nudge enemies, you hurl stormtroopers into orbit, crumble TIE fighters, and rip entire structures apart with a flick of your wrist. Starkiller feels less like a Padawan and more like a walking catastrophe. With physics-driven destruction and cinematic set pieces, the game delivers that rare thrill of feeling truly unstoppable in the Star Wars universe. Coming in at number 10, we have Doom: The Dark Ages, turning power fantasy into medieval carnage poetry. You're not just a slayer anymore, you're a walking siege engine clad in iron and rage. Shields shatter, demons burst apart, and every swing feels like it carries the weight of a legend. The slower, heavier combat leans into dominance rather than speed, making each kill feel earned and brutal. If modern Doom is controlled chaos, the Dark Ages is raw supremacy. You don't run from hell here, you stand your ground, plant your feet, and erase it from existence. At number 9, we have Dynasty Warriors 8. It is a power fantasy distilled into its purest form. One warrior versus 1,000 regrets. You tear through armies like a myth-given flesh, sending soldiers flying with single swings while the battlefield bends around you. Generals fall, morale shifts, and entire wars hinge on your presence alone. The screen fills with enemies, effects, and impacts, yet you're always in control. It's not about challenge, it's about dominance. Few games capture the intoxicating thrill of being an unstoppable legend on the battlefield quite like Dynasty Warriors at full throttle. Just Cause 3 hands you a grappling hook, a wingsuit, and an entire country to creatively dismantle. Rico Rodriguez isn't just powerful, he's gleefully ungovernable. You tether helicopters together, surf explosions, and turn military bases into abstract art pieces of fire and debris. Physics become your playground and chaos is the objective. The game thrives on excess, encouraging ridiculous stunts and explosive solutions to every problem. It's a power fantasy fueled by freedom, where momentum never stops and the only real limit is how wild your imagination can get. Coming in at number 7, we have Infamous Second Son. It makes you feel powerful in a slick, stylish way. Delsin Rowe absorbs abilities like a superpowered sponge, stacking neon speed, smoke devastation, and concrete brutality into one fluid arsenal. Movement feels effortless, combat feels flashy, and the city becomes your personal arena. Enemies exist to be overwhelmed in spectacular fashion. Whether you're raining destruction from rooftops or clearing streets in seconds, the game nails that superhero fantasy sweet spot where you're fast, destructive, and visibly evolving. It is confidence as gameplay crackling with energy and attitude. At number 6, we have Crackdown 3. However, all three of these games are a rising power fantasy through progression, starting with small hops and ending in superhero leaps across skyscrapers. As your agent grows stronger, the city shrinks beneath you. Cars become toys, enemies become speed bumps, and gravity feels optional. The joy comes from feeling your strength build naturally. Every orb collected makes the world bend a little more in your favor. Combat is explosive, movement is liberating, and the city becomes your vertical playground. Crackdown isn't subtle, but it is incredibly satisfying, delivering the fantasy of becoming absurdly powerful, one glowing orb at a time. Coming in at number 5, we have Destroy All Humans, flipping the power fantasy on its head by making you the invader, and it is glorious. As Crypto, you terrorize humanity with telekinesis, disintegrators, and flying saucer destruction that turns cities into ashtrays. Tanks flip like toys, buildings collapse effortlessly, and humans exist purely to panic and explode. The game thrives on excess and humor, letting you feel hilariously superior at all times. There's no underdog story here, you're an alien menace at peak power. Few games let you dominate a world with such playful, unapologetic cruelty. God of War reframes power fantasy with weight and authority. Kratos doesn't move fast, he moves with purpose. Every axe throw hits like a declaration, every punch feels final. You're not scrambling to survive, you're imposing your will on gods and monsters alike. The Leviathan axe adds elegance to brutality, making combat both cinematic and crushing. Even when the story leans into restraint, the power is always there, simmering beneath the surface. This is an unstoppable strength tempered by experience, and it makes every encounter feel monumental. Coming in at number 3, we have Space Marine 2. It is a power fantasy forged in ceramite and bolter fire. As a Space Marine, you're not meant to take cover, you're meant to advance. Enemies swarm in terrifying numbers, yet you carve through them with brutal efficiency. Chainsword roaring and armor soaked in victory. Every step forward feels earned and unstoppable, like a living war machine marching through chaos. The sheer scale of combat reinforces your dominance, making you feel like a god of war among mortals. Few games capture raw battlefield supremacy with such unapologetic force. Prototype 2 turns power fantasy into biological mayhem. You don't just fight enemies, you absorb them, evolve from them, and become worse. James Heller's abilities are grotesque, violent, and endlessly satisfying, letting you tear through tanks, leap across city blocks, and reshape your body into weapons. The city exists as fuel for your rampage. Everything breaks, everything bleeds, and you're always escalating. Prototype 2 thrives on excess, rewarding aggression and momentum. It's a game that doesn't ask if you should be unstoppable, it assumes you already are. And finally, at number 1, we have Marvel's Spider-Man 2, delivering power fantasy through speed, fluidity, and control. Swinging through the city feels effortless, combat flows like choreography, and both Peter and Miles move with superhero confidence. You're fast enough to outmaneuver anything, strong enough to dominate fights, and stylish enough to make it look easy. The symbiote abilities push that power even further, adding raw aggression to an already thrilling toolkit. It's not about overpowering enemies through brute force alone. It is about mastery. You're always one step ahead, and the city knows it belongs to you. And that is 11 epic power fantasy games where you are unstoppable. Are you playing any games on the list, or is there a game that I missed? Let me know down in the comments. So for all things gaming, don't forget to subscribe to Instant Gaming, and for great deals on games, you can check out our website at instant-gaming.com. And as always, thanks for watching.